This is the second video on the journal entries. We'll finish up the master table so that we can start creating the journal entries in the next video. Here is the disclaimer and the timestamp. Now we can move on to extracting the general ledger number to the debits and credits positions. For debit 1, we'll return the expenses ledger number when the lookup table column shows expense and return the accounts receivable when the lookup table is income. Here you see me using the find formula to help extract the numbers on the left of the vertical bar. Usually the general ledger numbers are in 4-digit, but since we want to automate this generation process regardless of number of digits, we'll just use the find method. Now we know that we need to extract the leftmost 4 digits of the description column. We use the left formula on the description column to extract the general ledger account number when the lookup table column is expense. When the lookup table column is income, we have to return the accounts receivable account from the chart of account. Here you see that the GL account number is 1060. When the lookup table is neither expense nor income, it will just return a dash. Before we work on the debit to and credit to position, we need to add the two tax accounts to the chart of accounts. They are 1483 tax recoverable and 2680 tax payable. If the lookup table is expense, then the debit to position will return 1483, which is the tax recoverable account. It's because when the company pays its expense, it can claim back the sales tax from the tax agency. That's why we debit the tax recoverable. Here you see me doing wrong as I debit the tax payable account 2680 on a debit to position. I'll fix that later in this video. For the credit position 1, we'll need the accounts payable account whose GL number is 2620 from the chart of accounts. If the lookup table column is expense, we'll return the accounts payable 2620. If the lookup table column is income, we'll use the left and find formula to extract the description column. Anything else will return a dash. Here we go back to debit position 2 to get rid of the income part, because we shouldn't see 2680, the tax payable, on the debit to position. we can copy the debit to position formula to the credit to position and change it to the tax payable account 2680 when the lookup table column is income. When a company makes sales to generate income, the company is acting like an agency to collect cash in the form of sales tax from the customer on behalf of the government. Therefore, the company has to pay the government the portion of the sales tax collected from the customer. As a result, tax payable account 2680 is initiated. The debit-free and credit-free position are pretty complicated. To make it easier, here we'll create some defined names for some repeating items. The first one is to rename table 13 to master since we'll be referring to it quite often. The second one will be the extract of description. Here you see me use the find and left formula to extract the GL account number under the description column. I simply copy this formula and save it to the name extract description. Now you can use the name extract description instead of typing out the left and find formula to grab the GL number from the description column. You'll see how you can save time with this naming method. We do the similar things to extract the withdrawal bank's GL number. Control F3 to bring up the name manager and paste the formula under the name extract withdrawal bank. Next, we change the extract withdrawal bank a bit for the extract deposit bank name. Now let's take a look at the debit-free position. When the lookup table column is either expense or payment, we'll need to debit the accounts payable. Therefore, you see this part in the formula. When the lookup table column is income, bank, or receipt, that means we are either collecting cash from the customer or depositing money to the deposit bank. So we have to debit the deposit bank in these situations. And you should see extract deposit bank in the formula. Anything else will return a dash. For the credit-free position, we only need to change the debit-free formula a bit. Let's walk through the credit-free position formula again to check whether we are right. In case of expense, bank, and payment transaction, we'll credit the withdrawal bank's GL account. In case of income and receipt, we'll credit the account's receivable account, which is 1060. Anything else will return a dash. Let me copy these formulas to the debit-free and credit-free position. Here I also OD to create a conditional format to help me spot any errors made in between. Simply use the is error formula to wrap around the first cell of the range, which is I6. Hit OK and apply to the range of the debit and credit position columns. Now you see that these two cells are red because we didn't fill in the withdrawal bank for these two payment transactions. So when I fill in the withdrawal bank from the payment interface and go back to the master table, we should see these two payment transactions returning the withdrawal bank and a GL number being extracted under the credit trade position. Here, let me fix the debit to position for the tax recoverable account, which should be 1483 instead of 1683.